Okay, hi everybody. Sorry this took so long to make, but my wife's in teacher's college and all the technology was unavailable to me on the weekend because she was doing a project. Anyway, I promised a whole bunch of you that I'd talk about how I do my rehab for squats. I know that some of you have been having problems with that, so here's the nuts and bolts of what I do, and it seems to be keeping me in fairly good shape. So, I don't know, I'm not a physio, I'm not a kinesiologist, it's just what works for me. So, everyone knows how to use one of these. It's a foam roller. I think I got this about 10 years ago and I've used it about 5 times. Problem with it is it's too soft and too wide. I mean, you guys have probably all had a foam roller, and you've rolled on it, and you've rolled on it, and it does a little bit after a while, then it just stops working. So here are the things that I've had to resort to in order to kind of mimic the foam roller. So I did this, then I went out, got myself a ABS tubing, incredibly difficult, or incredibly hard, and slightly less diameter than the foam roller. Problem with this is that it's still too wide, still too much surface area when you're trying to rehab yourself. It's a good kind of beginner or intermediate roll, but still for those really, really big trouble areas, it's not going to work for what you want it to do. The next thing I went for is this. See if I can see it. It's one of these things. It looks mean, but honestly, it's about the same toughness as this. Because these spikes are completely and utterly depressible. I mean, it feels nice. It feels nicer than this, but still, in the end, it still doesn't do what I need it to do. So then I started getting creative. This is a cardboard tube from a piece of a roll of craft paper my kids got. Much smaller diameter than the ABS tubing, but still, I find this to be a little bit too thick. So here are the options that I've gone for, and they've all seemed to kind of fall short in one way or another. Give me a second here. Now, here is what I use today. Now, you guys have all seen the Paininator and all that kind of wooden stuff. I was trying to get as narrow a focus as possible with a piece of wood, and the problem with that was I was putting all my body weight on a small piece of wood, and it was hurting like hell. Like it was more than I could take. So we all know what this is. This is a lacrosse ball. You can use a field hockey ball. You can use a golf ball if you want. Golf ball isn't big enough for me, but I find this to be really, really good for getting those small areas that the roller can't get into. So when I do this, I lie on my stomach and I roll right over the crease of the hip. I keep going across here, in here is good, and then I track it down to the piriformis, which is down in here, and if you see, you'll find it. It's really, really easy to find it. You put your leg over like that while you're sitting on the ground, put the little cross ball underneath there, and then grind back and forth until you find the spot that makes you want to cry. I like the lacrosse ball better because it's got a sticky surface, so on a floor like this, I've got a cork floor. Some of the guys are training in basements with concrete floors or whatever, but it sticks to the carpet, it sticks to the cork, and it stays where you put it. Now, here is my latest invention, and it works. Actually works. It's not like a gimmicky thing that I came up with. This, as you see me carrying around, all it is a broomstick. A regular old broomstick, and what I've done, I'm going to see if I can show you here, is I've sanded down the groove right here that came with the broomstick. It had the kind of like little edge right there, so I sanded that down to a smooth edge. And on this side, I've sanded down where maybe this is a shovel handle or whatever, I don't know. You can get it at Home Depot for like $10, and I've sanded off this so it's a nice sharp point. And what I do with this is because this point is even smaller than the lacrosse ball, you can get into the areas that the lacrosse ball can't. Now here's my sharp end, here's my big end, and I'll step back here so hopefully you can see. I jam it against a piece of wood, like what I've got right here, and then find the spots that I want to go for, relax this leg completely, and just go, oh, find it right away. And go to where the pain is, and rock back and forth a little bit, and you'll find some spots hurt worse than others. And the thing I like about this is I'm not putting my full body weight into the point of the broom handle, because I can use gravity to apply as much or as little force as I want. So if I want to do a little bit more force, step further away, and really grind into it. So right now I'm on the hip flexors. I can do the psoas, which is if you landmark your hip bone or your pelvis bone, whatever, I don't know what you call it, down 2 inches and over an inch. Right in there is one of the lower insertions of your psoas, and it's really close to your junk. And I apologize for this. This looks terrible. Don't screen capture this. But you'll find it when your leg starts to basically just throb. The other spot that you can do is put it in there, and there's your piriformis. If you're really brave, you can put your leg up like this. And it requires a little bit of balance, but once again, it's a sharper point into the areas that you can't get. And fish around in the area, and you're basically looking for any area that hurts. Like right now, I'm not finding anything. I can push against this all day, no big deal, except for when I hit it right there. Hang on. And then when you find a spot, take all your weight off that leg, as much as you can, and just put pressure. Now, I haven't gotten to the point where I can use this sharp point yet. I'm basically working entirely with this, but when you look at surface area difference, that's what you're getting with the lacrosse ball, and that's what you're getting with the broom handle. So it ends up being a much more precise instrument to find those really, really hard to reach places, especially in the hip area. One thing that people don't, what I've learned about from my massage therapist, is if you feel the pelvis, and then you want to get inside the pelvis, I can't remember what the muscle's called, but take the broom handle, and you're almost trying to push at the kidney from the other side of the body, and then once you get it underneath the pelvis, it's hard for me because I'm sitting up, it's easier to do lying down, but once you get it around the pelvis, turn it and get it in, so you're kind of scooping on the inside. A lot of people forget about the muscles, so they'll work this area really, really hard with the foam roller, the lacrosse ball, the stick, and they'll go, why doesn't this area feel good? It's because the muscles on the inside are still freaked out. The psoas is one of the biggest ones. It has connection down here. It also has connectors up here on the inside of the pelvis. You can't get to the psoas from this side because it's on the other side of the spine, so the best way is into the pelvis, down here landmarking, 2 down, 1 in. And I think that's about it for kind of the basic rehab that I do. You basically get as fine a point as you can get, as you can stand, and fish around and find the worst parts of the part that are causing you pain. One thing that I do want to mention though is that in my experience I've found that where the pain isn't where the problem is. So for example, on me, I feel pain pretty much all the time right in this area right here. So lower back right here, and then right down here. I used to think it was SI joint, so I've had my SI joint injected with prolotherapy for about 10 times. It did nothing. And it's only been in the last month that my massage therapist and my physio have found that it's not this side of my body that's bad, it's this glute, this hip flexor, this hip flexor, this piriformis that is tight on me and causes the pain to go on the other side because the other side's having to work harder for me. So just because you got pain in one spot doesn't necessarily mean that that's where the problem is. So fish around, spend some time, go for that. One other thing that I find really, really important, this is the last one I'll do because I just went to a massage tonight and I don't want to do this too much because it's going to cause me some more pain, but you guys have all probably seen the standard hip flexor stretch where you put one leg back, one leg forward, and you kind of lean forward into it. Problem I have with this particular stretch is that all of my weight is on my kneecap and it hurts, and it's really, you can't relax when your knee is all kind of getting crushed on the floor. The best solution I've found so far is couch cushion, big blanket, or 2 couch cushions, because now the couch cushion is not actually letting my knee hit the ground. The weight's kind of evenly distributed through the lower part of my leg and my shin. So now I can actually lean forward and get a very, very good stretch in my hip flexors. This is something that you really, really want to do if you spend all your day sitting down, because the hip flexors love to get short from prolonged sitting, and then when your hip flexors are short, you kind of end up walking around like this with your ass sticking out, and it throws off your squat technique, it throws off your deadlift. That's about it. So if you have any questions, fire me off an email. Hopefully you guys all know it. Send a Facebook message, whatever. Yeah. So for these guys competing January 26th, I'll be there competing with you. I'll bring all my toys. Yeah. Oh, shit. One last thing. The broomstick has also come in handy with another thing that I've found. For those of you who are training chest pretty heavily and doing the squats, you're probably familiar with that sensation that when you first get under a squat bar, you grab the bar, and it's just a bar, and you go, again, it pulls your shoulders, it pulls your chest, that sort of thing. Because Scott's got me on a pretty heavy bench workout right now, what I've found that works really well to open up the chest, once again, I mean, I've got the stick with me anyway. Grab the stick way out to the side, and then roll over. Arms are straight, and I'm just kind of letting gravity do the trick. If I can get around, I inch up a bit, and then just let gravity, with arms straight, just let gravity do its thing. And the goal of this is not to get the bar back here. The goal of this is just to find a distance that lets you sit there. There we go. And I feel this in the lower part of my bicep and the insertion point of my pectoral. I'm sure Robin can correct me. There's the insertion, there's the origin, but I think this is the origin, this is the insertion. But anyway, Robin will fix that for me. So yeah, just sit there, let your shoulders and your chest and your biceps relax. And then when you get under the bar, you should feel a lot better. There you go. I have one more thing, but I can't remember it right now. So anyway, if I do figure out what that last thing was, I'll put a second video up on Facebook. But for now, hopefully that helps. If you have any specific questions, let me know. And happy lifting. Have a good night.